Hey everyone, good day to you. This is Roger with Groovus Games Unlimited, and welcome to the next showcase video, and welcome to the Christmas holiday format that I think everyone enjoys. I love the holidays, and I love spending it with all you guys, chatting with about Dungeon Crusade, but anything, what games you're playing, what you're doing for the holiday. Welcome. It is very nice to be back with you, and I just love the holiday season. And yes, we even have lights and the garland out for Dungeon Crusade. So I warmly welcome you, and I hope everyone is doing great today. Boy, is there a lot to talk about. First of all, what's this video? We are going to talk about the classic combat system, and I think we're going to have some fun. I have a surprise for you. Some of you may not know about this, others do, maybe you forgot about it, but I have something to show you that you're really going to love. And boy, where to start out? Well, let me first of all put this thing down here, and you know what? Well, nice, there we go. Nice holiday shot with Dungeon Crusade. But I'm going to have to show you something, and I was told by a certain maiden of Witherbrook Forest, do not touch this display. Hold on. This is the table right behind me when I'm shooting, and a certain little maiden of Witherbrook Forest said, do not touch this display, don't put your game stuff on it, don't put anything Dungeon Crusade, leave this alone. And of course I would do that. But this is where I store everything at. Like when I'm doing the videos, I put stuff here, and she did a very nice arrangement that, the family's very thankful for. So we can't touch it, but actually we just touched it. But I had to show you that. So very nice display, but I did want to get that on camera for you. Came out very nice. So now back to the other side. Okay, so now let's get it rolling. Wow, first of all, guys, let's chat a bit. Again, I hope you're doing good. Welcome. I hope you feel the holiday spirit and very cozy here. We're gonna have fun in this video, I assure you. Like I said, it took from the last video, what was like right around Thanksgiving, it took 5 days to decorate our house and get it ready for the holiday. And of course for you guys here, I put a lot of time into just decorating this. So I hope you like this. Sorry for the slight delay with getting this video out. Let me start with this quick, great update right now. You can read about it below, but I'll just do this in a nutshell. I reached out to our production engineer at the manufacturers, and very respectfully, very politely, I said, hey, I laid it on the line. We want this game printed ASAP. We respect everything they're doing, but they said it was going to be printing at the end of the month. And so I'm just there to encourage them, say, hey, you have all the files, you've had all the files, let's get this thing going for all of us. And they were very nice, of course. And so I have been speaking to our production engineer since the middle of last week, and we're making a lot of progress, guys, okay? They're saying in the middle of December, this is going to start being printed, and we're going over the final specs, and I'm still awaiting the final e-proofs. Everything should be lined up with everything, so it's just going to go over everything and make sure it's all good, and then we go to print. I want this game printed. I want this out to you ASAP. It will be shipping out in early 2023, and I'm sorry we could not make the holiday deadline. Believe me, I think you know how bad I want to get this wrapped up. But the good news is we're working hard on it. I laid it on the line and said, we want to get this done. And they have been awesome, of course. Pledge Manager will be closing. Absolutely, it will be closing soon. I've been holding off on promotion, guys, and to be completely candid with you, I didn't feel like it was right to start these promotions without knowing this thing is going to be going to print, because I don't want to keep, I was told, okay, then I made sure it is, so we'll definitely be starting up some videos and just, sharing all this with everyone. If you're new here, and just as a reminder, we worked on everything in the game. The revised rulebook, which has been getting excellent reviews, much shorter to the point. Thank you, Ilpo, and everyone who helped work on that. Ilpo, you're awesome. You were the editor on it. Of course, the new game mode, Solo Crusader mode, the revised combat system we just looked at, the scalable difficulty reference card. There's so many, there's tweaks and balances. The game has been perfected and honed, okay? I did want to touch base with you on that stuff first, because that's important. I want to always keep you guys in the loop for what is going on. And I think that's about it, right? Okay, so let's talk about this video, and I'm going to show you some stuff, and I think you'll enjoy it. Okay, and we're going to take a look at the monster cards, and we're going to get into the classic combat system. And I think I've been calling him Snowy through the years. He's been here like for many years, so he's making his holiday return here. So remember, we're going to be going over the classic combat system, right? We just talked about the revised combat system. So the classic, it was the way you really play Dungeon Crusade. But of course, a lot of people are enjoying the revised combat system, which is awesome. And also remember, when you, like I said many times already, we're going to take the minion cards out of here. When you're using either the revised combat system or the classic combat system, like you're going to be seeing, remember, you don't combat, you use the same system for combating minions. Okay, so we're just going to get rid of these now. So remember, depending on whatever you choose, whatever you select for your combat system, you're always going to combat minions the same exact way. So the classic combat system is going to be just like what we discussed in the revised combat system, or the newly revised combat system: champion monsters and guardians. Okay, and just to be candid with you, I like both systems. You're going to notice the classic combat system is a little more strategic, more tactical, a little more in-depth, and planning is involved, and I love that. So it's a little more drawn out, but in a fun way. And so we're going to get into that in a moment. I want to go over just a couple more things about the warfare dice. Just want to touch on this again in case you're new here. Okay, and just to touch on this briefly, in case you missed it before, in the land of Avalon, there's 6 warfare types. Think of these like fighting styles: physical warfare, ranged warfare, arcane warfare, mythical warfare, spiritual warfare, and chaos warfare. Each hero is, starting out at level 1, they can go up to level 3. Some of them are proficient in a few warfare types, middle of the road in a few others, and not so hot in a few of the other warfare types. Like all of us, we have strengths and weaknesses. And when I created the system, it's a little bit abstract, the combat system, but I think you're going to enjoy like taking a look at the classic combat system. It really addresses true party building, and that, so you're definitely going to see it in this. We're going to be using our battle tokens for this, and what's up now? Okay, so let's talk about the battle chart and a few other things, and a little surprise for you. Okay, we're over here on the Dungeon UI board, and I just want to show you so you know we're at Dungeon UI board here. Quest tables, I'm sure you're familiar with that if you've been watching the series. Minion, population track, incantation track, all of those. Right here, we really haven't touched on this before, and this deals with the classic combat system. You're going to be using this, or you don't have to use this, guys. I'm going to show you some things that some people have made some awesome stuff when they're playing Dungeon Crusade for your battle chart here. But again, you don't need to use this, and we're going to get into that. But I want to show you this, and I have this for download. There's a link in the description for you. I have just this, if you want to download this and just print it out. That way it's kind of like a portable battle chart, and you can use this if you want to put it anywhere on your table instead of using the one on the Dungeon UI board. So look for a link. You could download this, print it out, but again, you don't really need this, and I'm going to explain why when we get into the classic combat system. And I'm telling you, guys, just really excited to talk to you about this, and I'm happy to be back with you. Holidays and all that. So I think we're going to have a good time. Okay, let me share a few other things that I think you'll enjoy learning about. Now, those of you who are new here, maybe you've never seen this before, and this is not my original one. I'm going to break that out. I should have broke it out for this video, but this was the more refined, perfected one that my very good friend Paulo made based on my original one. It looks pretty much like this. Paulo's version is much more cleaner, but I had created this years ago, and you can use this while you're playing Dungeon Crusade with the classic combat system. Notice there's phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and that probably sounds familiar to you from the revised combat system. So you're going to kind of see the origins of the combat system, with the classic combat system. So many people have made their own version of this, and oh gosh, his name eludes me. Shannon. He made one of these and actually had LEDs in there. And it's something like when the dice would go, like they would light up or something. It was really amazing. But so many people have made these, and I was just very grateful that people wanted to create their own Dungeon Crusade dice box. So we're going to get into this and how to use this. Also, I want to show you this little thing that I made and a little surprise for those of you who don't know about this. Let me grab this. Okay guys, I have a little surprise for you. You may have forgot about this, you may not know about this, but a while back I worked with an amazing guy named Ed Farias, and we created the Dungeon Crusade Combat Chart app. I have links for you below. It's available everywhere. You can use this instead of using dice. And a lot of people use this. And we're going to be going over this to show you a few things, how it works. So let me start it up here. And we're going to use this for our demo and our battles. But let me show you how this thing works. And just like I showed you, there is the battle chart for you. We have our warfare types. And I have to say again, Ed, you're awesome. This thing is so killer. And I like the tangible goods. I like rolling dice, but I also like using this. And actually, you can use this when you're using this for the minions, for combat. So I'm just going to give you a really quick demo of this, and then we'll get into it when we're combating a champion monster, guardian. But remember, there's 3 warfare types that monsters are versed in. So let's just say, I don't know, like a massive viper. So it's versed in physical warfare, ranged warfare, and chaos warfare. So you're going to see it when we get into this, but I'll just do this quick. But you randomize everything, and yes, with sound effects. Ed, you're amazing. Well, I did kind of the graphic design, and Ed put it all together. I don't know anything about apps, but Ed did this pretty much with his eyes closed. And then what you do is, as you're going to see, you have to attack and defend when you're combating a monster, like if it's a solo hero. So let's say you would attack in phase 1, you would defend in phase 2, and if you had a second weapon in another hand, don't worry guys, I know we're getting ahead, this all makes sense, you could attack. Basically, if you have 2 weapons in each hand, you can attack in 2 phases, and of course, you'd have to defend in one if you're a solo hero. And so then you would roll the dice on top, and that would be the outcome. You may have learned it just from that. And so that's a little bit about the app. We're going to get more into this. And actually, I forgot that we incorporated, or he did, a loot and gold roll. Remember? So you could hit this, D20 comes up. Well, look at that, a 20. See, it's going to be a magical night. And so you could do your loot and gold roll, and then you hit reset, and you're back again. So let's say a monster is versed in mythical warfare, arcane, and spiritual. You're going to randomize those. And then, okay, then you would see the order of battle. So then you would select, do you want your hero or heroes to, you know, attack in whatever phase, or defend, attack, and then roll the dice. Pretty nifty. Okay, so we're going to come back to this, but I wanted to show you that. And let me show you how this works with that dice tray. Be right back. Okay, and so this is kind of what it looks like on there. And you know, I've made so many videos, but if you guys ever want me to do a video on how I made this, it's quite simple. I just got a piece of plastic, screwed it to this, and then got this this holder from actually the Dollar Tree, and just put it on there like that, so you could have it when you're rolling dice. Because actually, the dice roll originally in version 1 wasn't in there, and so you would just, you know, do the, you know, this, randomize, and then you would roll the dice, and that, so you could still do that, of course, but then, you know, there was players who wanted to have, you know, the dice there, and so we incorporated that. Ed did, and then the loot and gold roll. So this went through a few versions, but that's kind of cool, very unique to Dungeon Crusade. Some of you may have never even seen this before. So if you're kind of a crafty person and you want to create a Dungeon Crusade dice tray, There you go. And I think I have a video of how I made mine, but it's very simple. And okay, so let's get on with learning about the classic combat system. And I got to give this phone back to the family member. Be right back. And actually, before we begin, I want to show you this, that it was some years back, a very awesome guy named Joseph. I believe he resides in California. Hello, Joseph, if you're watching this. Joseph made this for me as a gift. He's this master woodworker, and it's kind of a dice tower, but a dice box for Dungeon Crusade. And so, yes, we're getting to learn about the classic combat system. This might excite you, but after you select, if you're going to attack or defend in what phase, you take your dice, and here's something right here's a tip when we get into this. All the dice are rolled at the same time, and I'm going to get into thematically what to think of. But when the battle takes place with your hero against the monster, or heroes and monster, so you would say, if you're going to attack in phase 1, defend in phase 2, or attack in phase 3, you put them at the top, and then you just move them over. So if this was phase 3 there, would be ranged warfare, and then phase 1 would be chaos warfare, physical warfare, and ranged warfare. So I just wanted to give Joseph a shout out and show you, maybe get your creative gears going and something you'd like to use for the classic combat systems. Just very special to me, and again, thank you, Joseph. Okay, now let's talk about the classic combat system and what it's all about. Okay, we're going to start at square one, and it's like from doing videos, I never did this before with the classic combat system, so this part right here is uber important. It's not hard, but if you follow this, everything will fall into place, okay? We're going to use Sir Brennus in a lot of our demos here. When a hero starts out, this is, Sir Brennus at level 1, they of course start out with their beginning weapon, or their starting weapon, which he has this worn longsword, okay? Does 1 damage, and there's no buffs to physical warfare, okay? And you should know here are the warfare types on his hero card, and he's very proficient with physical warfare. He could add a +3 to this. When you play, and this is a huge strategy tip that you definitely want to remember, when you're starting off and you have a shopping phase in the village at the start of Dungeon Crusade, if you're using the classic combat system or the other one, the big thing is this: you always want your heroes to be dual wielding when you're using the classic combat system, and you're going to see why. But remember that tip. I'm putting this in caps, so picture that. You always want your heroes to be dual wielding, okay? So let's just say, for instance, Palum, our rogue hero, and just kind of just like a rule, she's our rogue hero. Let's say she upgraded her weapon, so she doesn't need her starting weapon, this dull stiletto. Well, you could just give that to, she could give that to Sir Brennus. So picture this, another big thing. In his left hand, he has the worn longsword. In his right hand, he has the dagger. Picture that, he's dual wielding. This is important. So let me say this then. When you're going to attack, you remember there's 3 phases? You can only attack with how many weapons you have. This is where the strategy and definitely the party building really kicks in. So for an example, let's say we're fighting the massive viper. Of course, every monster is versed in 3 of the warfare types. And I'm not going to pull the warfare tokens. So let's say in phase 1, he's going to declare he's going to attack in phase 1 with the worn longsword. Let's say the next phase is, I don't know, mythical. He's going to attack in phase 2 with the dull stiletto, the dagger. He's out of hands, right? He's already using those. What's he have to do for phase 3? He must defend. And I want you to picture this, another important thing. Think of this like this. And where's my little battle chart? Here's the battle chart here. There's 3 phases here. This is probably the most important part in the video. You saw how I rolled all the dice simultaneously. They all roll. Picture in phase 1 of how this is set up, Sir Brennus runs up and slashes with his long sword, and then comes in with his dagger, and then kind of shields himself in phase 3. It happens like boom, boom, boom. It just happens super quick. So picture a monster and a hero with this system, goes in to hit with a long sword. Maybe he hits, maybe he doesn't. Phase 2 comes in with the dagger. Phase 3, he's gonna like hold it up and try to defend. That is the best way to think of the classic combat system. It happens boom, 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 3, real fast. That's why you roll all the dice, it happens instantly. Does that make sense? So naturally, just because, you know, doesn't have a third hand, right? It doesn't have a third weapon. You couldn't attack in phase 3. You must defend. Let's take that back here. Let's say that that's all he had. Let's say that, you know, he was underprepared. You send him in against a guardian or a champion monster. He only has his one left hand. He's holding a weapon, right? Okay, well in phase 1, he's going to attack. Does he have any more weapons in his other hand? No, he doesn't. So automatically, he's going to have to defend in phase 2 and 3. So picture again like this, real fast. He rushes in with his worn longsword in phase 1, and then for phase 2, he's gonna, like, you know, defend again. I've never explained it like that, and I think that makes a lot of sense. If you got that, you're going to get the classic combat system. That's what it is, and I think it's a exciting combat system. It's definitely abstract, but once we get into the demos and you see it in action, I think you're really going to enjoy that. And that's what I was happy to do, is give people to play something more tactical, more strategic with the classic combat system, or for the people that just, you know, want to do the revise and, you know, use a little strategy and tactics and just roll some dice and get it done. I'm just happy now that Dungeon Crusade offers both combat systems for, you know, however you want to use them. Okay? So leading into our demo, and I think when you see the demo, the first demo, you're totally going to get this. Let's say during the shopping phase at the beginning of the term, Cerbrenus, you know, they have starting gold, and he bought this Forester axe, okay? And it's a chaos weapon. Right there we can see, remember, axe, black dice. And he can add a +1 to chaos warfare rolls, and it will do 1 damage. And remember, notice the socket. He could, you know, do some mining and crafting and create a power gem, whatever he likes. Maybe he wants to put an obsidian power gem in there that will buff that up even more, depending if it's a greater prowess gem or a normal one. Normal one will give you a +2, a greater prowess gem, obsidian will give you a +4, so on and so forth for the other warfare types or precious stones. I think we touched on that in the video, didn't we? So just notice here, he does have a socket, so that's another way you can modify this weapon to make it even more powerful. So as it is, for our upcoming demo here, Cerbrenus is now ready. He's got a worn long sword in one hand and a Forester axe in his right hand. This is how you want to play Dungeon Crusade when you're in the classic combat system. And lastly, I just want to point out this for gameplay's sake. A hero, of course, could have a bow in this hand. So going back to our, you know, what we were talking about, and I just want to touch on this. So, you know, phase 1 is going up against a monstrous spider. So he's going to attack in phase 1. He's going to, you know, for his left hand, his right hand, he's going to use a bow in phase 2. And of course, he's out of hands, right? He's out of weapons. He must defend. So picture it real fast. He rushes in with his longsword. Maybe he drops it real quick, gets the bow, shoots the bow, and then holds the bow up to deflect an incoming attack from the enemy. Because you saw how defending works. That's how it is. So it's just like boom, boom, boom. That's how it's just real fast. All the dice are rolled. You don't roll them individually. You must roll them all together. Hopefully from this segment, which was about 7.5 minutes, you got this. But when you see it in action, I think it'll all click, okay? All right, let's set up our demo with Cerbrenus going into the Tomb of St. Viticus to look for a quest item. Okay, and we're gonna start our quest. Cerbrenus is on a quest to find a blue lotus. And in the village, this village elder told him there's this blue lotus that has this magical healing properties. So he sent Cerbrenus in to locate it, and it's known it can grow within the Tomb of St. Viticus. So pointing out everything, of course, here's Tomb of St. Viticus north and south, and somewhere he has to find 2 of them. It's in 2 of the 4 chambers here. And remember, everything in Dungeon Crusade is randomized, so this will always change. You probably already know he has, or how the initiative tokens work, so we would be in the hero phase right now. Here's initiative token 1. Here's Sir Brennus, and Sir Brennus is going to try this chamber right here first. Taking a look at his hero card, you guys probably already know this. He has a base movement of 2 plus the roll of a d6. So I have a d6 right here. We're going to roll. Okay, so that's 2. Excuse me. 2 and 2 is 4. 1, 2, 3. And then he can use this last one to go into the chamber. As always, I want to always remind you guys, opening a chamber door does not cost an action. Picture when a hero goes in, boom, it just slams automatically, okay? Never cost an action. Also, just want to remind you again, let's say that he was short movement. Remember, a hero could always burn essence. 1 essence equals 1 movement. You can do that as much as you like, as long as you have the essence to burn for it. But in this case, he does have that 1 extra movement, so he doesn't have to do that. So chamber door just opens, he goes in, chamber door shuts. And remember the rule, you are never, ever, ever permitted to reveal a quest item until the champion monster or the champion monster token is revealed and dealt with, okay? And then of course you would say now, if Sir Brennus is going to rally any heroes in, and he's feeling pretty confident. Okay, so for this demo, it's just going to be him facing off against whatever's in there with the champion monster. So we reveal the champion monster, and it is, of course, a level 1. It could be a level 2. If you saw the other videos, there's always a slight chance. It's a slight chance it could be an empty chamber with an empty chamber token, or it could be a level 2 monster. So whatever quest you're working on, whether it's quest table level 1, level 2, level 3, you can always expect there may be 1 level higher of a monster in there. It won't always be, you know, just what level they are. So it's kind of challenging. Okay, let's get the level 1 champion monster deck and see what Sir Brennus will be fighting. Okay, and I did set this up because I want to show you guys something. So we would get the level 1 champion monster deck, flip it over, and Sir Brennus is going to be facing off against an afflicted. And I always like to share these origin stories with you to get you more into the game and just some of the world building and lore I did. And you'll learn something else that will definitely happen in the Avalon Adventure board game and kind of in Dungeon Crusade. And it's just part of the story. So first of all, let's take a look at the warfare types. This is afflicted. Remember, this is a normal version, has the silver star. If it was an elite, it would have a gold. And I can tell you, I won't tell you what it is, but I'll tell you the name. But if you run into an elite version of the afflicted, it has a special ability called spew bile. And I'll leave it at that. It's kind of disgusting, but it can be pretty deadly. But the afflicted, versed in spiritual warfare, ranged warfare, and chaos warfare. Well, if you've been watching this, we're going to know that Sir Brennus is not hot in any of those. And this is kind of what I mean about partying heroes together. Because already, look at that, that's a -3 from chaos warfare. We're going to have to -3, but he does have the Forester axe that'll give him a +1. So it'll boost it up a little bit, but we're still going to have to -2 from the chaos warfare roll. She's also versed in, what I said, well, chaos warfare, ranged warfare, and spiritual warfare. So taking a look at this, well, he's fairly, because he's a knight, he can add +1 to spiritual warfare, and that's actually good. He can actually add that's ranged, he can add a +1 to range. So he may not do too hot with chaos warfare, but again, true party building, that's what you want to do. You would definitely want to party a hero together, or up to, remember, you can party up to 2 heroes together by rallying them, and it's definitely crucial when you're using the classic combat system. Okay, what I wanted to show you was this. Just remember that inside all the champion monster decks, there are these dual monster chamber cards, and the skulls get more evil as they go up from like level 2, level 3, level 4. So that means, of course, there's not one, but there's two champion monsters your heroes are going to have to contend with. And lastly, something that would really not be good news at all. Here is the Vampiric Assassin Elite with Fresh Blood. This is a very tough special ability. But you can see if Sir Brennus would have ran into her, this wouldn't have been good, because he's not, well, he's versed in spiritual warfare, but the other two, he's not versed in at all. So remember, rally heroes together. Okay, I'll tell you what, let's get this set up. Let's see how Sir Brennus does and get into the classic combat system. Okay guys, we are about to start the classic combat system, and I hope you're enjoying this video. I'm having a really awesome time just hanging out with you and talking Dungeon Crusade and combat, the classic combat system. Okay, so let's just do this first. Notice, remember the three warfare types are spiritual, ranged, and chaos warfare. So here's my dice cup and his little history here. I have had this since I was like 5 or 6, and I used to play backgammon with my mom. And this was like from that set, and it's something I saved from that. So you don't want to play me at backgammon. I will beat you. Anyway, as our card fell, we're going to take our spiritual warfare dice, put it in there. Take our ranged warfare dice, put them in there. Finally, chaos warfare dice, put them in there. Remember how we were talking, how it's boom, boom, boom? You're going to roll. That's how that works. And let me stand our afflicted back up. And so our dice are in our cup, or whatever you want to use. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to take these, your warfare tokens, okay? You're going to give them a quick shuffle, kind of like how you saw in that app. And I want to say something, I'll say it again when we're going to do our demo with our app. That is not needed to play Dungeon Crusade. I don't want to give you the impression, oh, you have to have an app to play this. No, it just makes it more simple, more fun, you know, just a new way to play. You do not need that. I honestly prefer this. I like the tangible goods and the dice, the roll of the dice. So I do use that sometimes, but I definitely prefer this way. So classic combat system, we have our dice. Then again, we brought our battle board out. Take the warfare tokens, give them a shuffle. And what you're going to do is place them here on your battle board. As you know, we don't know what's going to come up. And there's something interesting I want to point out to you about the second and third phase. We'll get to that. So what are we going to do? We're going to reveal these. And we can see in phase 1 is going to be ranged. In phase 2 it's going to be chaos, and finally in phase 3 it's going to be spiritual. And I think you guys can hopefully see how this is all going to work. And we have our battle tokens here. So what we have to do is now decide how we're going to attack and defend. Remember what I said, Sir Brennus has a weapon in each hand. He has his sword in his left hand, right hand he has a forester axe. So what are we going to attack with in what phase? Well, in ranged warfare, he can add a +1. Let's take a look at the afflicted, and that is a 9. So I think we have a good chance to score with that, with adding just a +1. So I'll tell you what, I'm just going to declare with the Worn Longsword, I'm going to attack, or have Sir Brennus attack in phase 1. We're going to push the attack, you slide that up. Remember, just like we saw in the combat app, all right? So now we're in phase 2, chaos warfare. Looking at that, what is that, 10? 10. Well, remember we have to deduct 2 because he's not proficient in chaos warfare. He's going to take his chances, and we're going to attack in phase 2. And that's, we'll push the attack up. You see how that works? It is a different abstract system, but truly, guys, I love this combat system, you know, especially the classic one. Okay, now we're out of hands, right? We can't attack anymore. We must defend. So just remember, when these dice are rolled here, it's like boom, boom, boom. He rushes up, he hits with his sword trying to land a hit, tries to hit with the axe. He's going to kind of deflect for phase 3 to defend. And I've never explained it like that, but I think it makes a lot of sense. So now here's kind of like, picture what I just said, the whole battle taking place. You do not, it's against the rules, you cannot roll one at a time. With classic combat, it's all. You roll them all. So here goes the 3 phases playing out. as my dice. That's why I should have used my dice box. Okay, so let's line everything up as our maybe we killed the afflicted. Maybe that's why she fell over. Card fell over. Okay, phase 1. Let's line up the dice. Put that there. Sir Brennus did not do too hot at this at all. Okay. Let's take a look at this. And you know what? You may enjoy the classic combat system more than the revised. Okay, so that's a 5. Getting her card, that's nowhere near that. Sir Brennus is going to take, remember, you have to meet or exceed that. Even with the +1 on his card, that's only a 6. He's going to take a damage for that. So we'll mark that in a moment. Chaos Warfare, that's a 10. And nope, so we have to deduct 2. Even adding that 1 would have been 8. We got to deduct 2, that's 6. He's going to take another hit. Finally, Spiritual, 11. Oddly enough, see, we should have attacked with that because we would have landed a hit. I'm sorry, I had to slide this down to defend, so I should have done that. I apologize. But 11 and 5 with adding a 1 on his card, he successfully defended. Because remember, when you're defending, you have to meet or exceed that to successfully defend. If it would have been under that, he would have not, of course, defended. He would have taken a hit. But you see, maybe it would have been smart to attack in phase 3 with that. So as it may, he defended, but he took 2 damage from that. Do you see how that works? So we're going to do it again, but we're going to do it very quick. So he is down to 8 health. Okay, so let's clear the battle tokens. And remember, when you're combating champion monsters, it's continuous. It keeps going and going and going and going until, you know, the monster's dead, the hero or heroes are dead, or they evade out of the chamber. Okay, put the warfare dice back in the dice cup. Clear up the warfare token. So we're going in now to round 2 of combat. We're going to give these a shuffle. And you know, we had to look at, what does the afflicted have? 4 health. This might be a tough battle. So, and definitely, you can probably already see, you definitely want to rally heroes in the classic combat system to have a better chance of victory. And I think it's just more thematic to me, you know, when you're playing this way. Okay, so put them down again. Dice in our cup. Reveal. Spiritual Warfare, Chaos Warfare, and Ranged Warfare. Well, I don't know. I'm tempted now to attack, declare one of those weapons to attack because, you know, he landed a hit. But I'll tell you what, I think in phase 2 we're going to have, or phase 1, sorry, phase 1 we're going to have Sir Brennus. No, you know what? We're going to have him attack. We're going to attack with the Forester Axe. Yeah, we're going to do that. So we're going to push the attack in phase 1 with that. Phase 2, we're going to defend in chaos with him. All right? So we're going to take the phase 2 battle token, put that on defend. Remember, put that on your hero card. And finally, of course, in phase 3, he is going to attack in ranged warfare with his longsword. So kind of like picture that again playing out. Hopefully you're getting a visual of that. So in phase 1, he's going to run up and try to hit with the axe in spiritual warfare. Then he's going to maybe kind of hurry up and back up and defend for phase 2, and finally come out in ranged warfare with the sword and try to land a damage on the afflicted. Okay, let's see what happens here. And I think he did pretty good, actually. So let's line this up here. And 7 and a 4. Okay, so processing everything. Spiritual warfare, what is that? Is a 9, right? Is it a 9? Yes, 9. And a 5, that's 14 already, plus he has 1 in spiritual warfare on his hero card, that's 15. He put a damage on the afflicted. So that's processed. We're going to move to phase 2. 7 and 4, and he was defending, but remember, he has to deduct, and I'll show you just so you guys know and get a visual of all that. So remember, he has a +1 in spiritual. He's not proficient all in chaos warfare. So we'd have to deduct 3 from 11, and that is lower than the 10. He's definitely going to take another damage from that. And then finally over here with ranged warfare, 5 and 2, he has a +1, so that's a total of 8. And remember, he attacked with his Forester Axe in phase 3, so he has an 8, and 9, he was 1 shy. He's going to take damage for that. So guys, I'll tell you what, we're going to wrap this up because I want to get to the other ones, but you can see already he took a lot of damage just from that because he just wasn't proficient in those warfare types. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to reset this. We're going to go on to our next demo, but this time Cerbrenus is going to rally a fellow hero, and we'll see how he does. Be right back.